words for you. Turn the volume up.
Moderate Democrats Abigail Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill swept the governor's races in Virginia and New Jersey. And the shutdown were the two reasons that Republicans lost elections tonight. And then it says, according to pollsters, which is not the usual. If you're a moderate Democrat today, you're like, yes. And if you're a socialist, you're like, this is great. And everyone thinks they've got a lesson.
The largest turnout since the late 60s, and that is a significant
late 60s.
point.
That blew my mind, because we're not in a midterm,
born.
we're not in a general election year.
I mean, this is a serious statement of...
Hello, everybody. Guys, as you know, we had some elections last night. Republicans got smashed. They got creamed, and not in a good way. Let's get into this segment and we'll talk about it.
Races across the country, Democrats declaring victory and delivering an early review of Donald Trump's return to power. Moderate Democrats Abigail Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill swept the governor's races in Virginia and New Jersey, and they did so by busting apart the coalitions assembled by Republicans just 1 year ago.
To those Virginians who did not vote for me, I want you to know that my goal and my intent is to serve all Virginians.
And as the president is backing away from this ideal, cutting SNAP, ripping away health care, terminating Gateway, we here in New Jersey are bound to fight for a different future for our children.
So while those two future governors are considered moderate, that's not the case in New York City. So Democratic socialist Zohran Mamdani delivered a fiery victory speech to his supporters Tuesday night. He mentioned his opponent in the race, Andrew Cuomo, exactly once, and then turned his focus on the White House.
This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one. So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
Joining me now to talk about this, Sarah Fisher, CNN senior media analyst and senior media analyst at Axios, Joel Rubin, Democratic strategist and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, and Dustin Olson, pollster and managing partner at American Pulse Research and Polling. Now, we're going to dig into the data in just a moment. I want to come to you, Sarah, because it was interesting hearing Mamdani's speech, which felt a little Obama adjacent, and then also him directing it to Trump through the television. Can you talk about sort of what is the image he is projecting out of this win?
I mean, he's always been so anti-billionaire, anti-big power. That was his big message against Andrew Cuomo this entire time. So, of course, he's going to get to the podium and take a direct shot at the billionaire in the White House. I also think the big thing about Mamdani's win is that he has a big socialist agenda. And so highlighting and underscoring how different that is from the billionaires in power, not just, by the way, in the White House, but just in New York. Look at who we've had as mayor in the past, the Bloombergs of the world. He wants to come up and say, in the past, money has led the city, not anymore.
Okay, I want to come to you, Joel, because I know you and I were both going into this talking about generational divides, especially among Democrats in New York, whether that's Jewish communities, Black communities. And then when we looked at the turnout, I think youth was only like 11, 12% share. So Mamdani had to win over some people who were not under the age of 30 or 35. What do you make as you started to look into what the coalition was?
Well, first of all, overall turnout was off the charts, right? The largest turnout since the late 60s, and that is a significant
the late 60s.
point.
That blew my mind, because we're not in a midterm, we're not in a general election year.
I mean, this is a serious statement of not just enthusiasm, but also anxiety and anger about where the country is. And people, for the first time since Donald Trump took power, have had a chance now to electorally express themselves. So to me, that's a big win for democracy. It's a big win for the Democratic Party. The coalition sticks together. I think what you see is that the different pockets of New York came out. I am concerned about the Jewish vote, for example, going 2-1 for Cuomo and what that means for our debates inside the party. And that's going to be a continuing argument.
Yeah.
But definitely what he was able to do by having that broader, older group come in, that means that a lot of people probably came in that weren't participating before. That's also very important and very valuable.
All right, President Trump actually.
Guys, I think this cycle of election and the youths out there, come on, 11% voting. You guys, come on, you guys got to vote more. But guys, this cycle of election tells us that we can't have this kind of my way or the highway attitude, right? Like Limp Bizkit, my way or the highway. White people out there, you didn't think I had a Limp Bizkit reference in my back pocket, did you? Come on, Poppy's the all-knowing. But seriously, we have to be open, right, to Democrats who are more in the middle, centrist, liberal, and those further to the left, right? We agree with each other, 80 to 90% on the issues. It's no point in making each other enemies, right? Never let, what was the saying, perfection get in the way of progress. That's how you build a sustainable movement. You need to be a bit of a, right, like a deal maker, someone who can work with all types of people and come to a reasonable logic middle that most could agree on, right? On our side, we don't have to bend to Republicans. I have no need, no desire to pull Republicans over to us. I think that's pointless and stupid. We shouldn't bend on our morals and our principles for those idiots. No, if they want to come over on their own, great. We shouldn't be doing anything to get them to come over. But on that point, we aren't ever going to get everything we want in one election cycle, 2 election cycles, right? Like, I'm quite further left than normal centrists, Democrats, liberals, but I'm also not going to push them out when I know that I need them to get my agenda, or at least part of it, accomplished, right? During primaries, I'm all for it. Go at it. Go at each other's necks. May the best Democrat win. But after that, we have to stand with the winner. If you want to win elections against Republicans, you can still disagree with them on this and that. You don't, again, have to bend on your principles, but still understand that we have a real psychopathic opponent called the Republicans. These people, look at what they're doing. It hasn't even been a year yet, and there's nothing they're doing right. Immigration, they're even underwater on immigration. The economy is going to shit. Like, we have to learn how to work together, right? That goes for you liberals and centrists out there as well. But let's keep going.
He has a theory of his own that he posted on social media where he basically says, look, Trump wasn't on the ballot and shutdown were the 2 reasons that Republicans lost elections tonight. And then it says, according to pollsters, which is not the usual, frankly, social media post we see.
Trump is so embarrassing. He's such a sore loser crybaby. Such a crybaby. This is why I call Republicans little snowflakes and crybabies, little wimps. Look at him. He just couldn't shut the F up. Oh, it has nothing to do with me. I wasn't on the ballot. It's the Republicans. Shut the F up. You don't think everyone voted because of you and the Republicans, you idiot? You and the Republicans are one and the same. They're your puppets. What are you talking about?
From him. Dustin, can you talk about what you see? I mean, you are a pollster. And yes, it was a conversation last night about Democratic coalitions, but it also seemed to be a question about whether Trump's coalition of 2024 was a one-time thing.
Yeah, well, the New York City mayor's race I thought was the most interesting. It's also the race that we've done the most public polling as well as internal polling on. And it's definitely, I would call it a mixed bag for Democrats. Obviously, it's a huge win. I think Mamdani's speech was ambitious. And I think he'll be, if he does half the things, be transformative. And that's probably, for some Democrats within the party, they're not going to be excited about that. We're watching the transformation of that party. One of the things that's interesting we saw in our polling is that people who lived in and around the city on 9/11, they were going for Cuomo. So that's definitely, there's a generational divide, and you can see that playing out. Also, the policies that were unpopular that Mamdani has proposed and promoted, defund the police, refusing to denounce globalized intifada. These were not popular with New Yorkers as well. So there's a little bit of, I think they don't necessarily agree with them on all policies, but they wanted to see some change. So I think voters are actually pretty.
Can I ask you about the New Jersey question, though? Just the sense that you've had counties, Trump had major swings with Latino voters. And, you know, this isn't Arizona. This isn't Texas. These are guys that the Republicans were like, look, this kind of thing puts New Jersey in play. Was that ever true?
I think it's true if Donald Trump's on the ballot. Also, an off-year election following a presidential year, you have the party that didn't win the White House, you know, things swing towards that
So no
party.
warning signs there.
So there is, but also in 21, we saw a similar coalition, you know, more affluent voters who have moved away from Trump Republicans, and you've had higher education folks moving away from Trump Republicans. They voted for Ciattarelli last time as well. So there's been a bit of a demographic difference between these different kinds of elections.
Well, this was kind of a Rorschach test in that if you're a moderate Democrat today, you're like, yes. And if you're a socialist, you're like, this is great. And everyone thinks they're got a lesson. But you guys stay with me because we're going to talk a lot more about that.
My people, Hispanics out there, seems like you are learning that probably not a good idea to vote for a group of people that wants to feed us to alligators, right? That's the kind of voting numbers I want to see. And listen, as Hispanics, we are filled since birth with all types of herbs and spices. You don't want to get anywhere near an alligator. We are delicious. Guys, I really need to make bullets on things not to say. Number one, Hispanics are filled with herbs and spices. Probably not a good idea. But anyways, in all seriousness, hopefully it knocked into the Hispanics' heads as a Hispanic myself, that you can't just vote based on the economy. I know a lot do that. A lot of people do that. And just flip sides if the economy is not doing well, right? But the error in that logic is very simple, is that when the president comes into office or that party comes into office, it's not just the economy that you will be affected with, right? It's multiple different ways. You see what they're doing with SNAP benefits. You see what they're doing with the healthcare subsidies. Do you really think if Kamala or Biden were president, they would take SNAP benefits away from you or try to use that as leverage against Republicans? Of course not. We're not that cruel. We're not that sick in the head. We're not literally going to starve people to death, starve kids to death. 40% of SNAP beneficiaries are children. And as you can see, I think it's safe to say that Kamala Harris wouldn't be having black and brown kids zip tied during ICE raids, slamming women against a wall, giving them injuries who are showing up for their immigration hearings. You know, people with no criminal charges whatsoever, just working hard-ass jobs. You really think you will see this kind of America under Kamala? And I don't think Kamala Harris, yes, Hispanics out there, she's a black woman. I know it can be a little scary for some of you out there. I've talked about that. But they would not have done, Kamala would not have done nothing close to any of this crap. Point of the story, never vote for bigots. They will come to bite you like those alligators in that Florida prison. I'm Couch Politics, and I approve this message. We'll talk more about these elections, but I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.